Alright, this is going to be a very fast video because I've done this 3 times now, and I realised the last time I did it, I didn't even plug in my microphone, so here we go. Yeah, I think, you notice I'll have a haircut since the last video, I don't care. Here goes my top 10 best movies of 2023. It's been a wild year for cinemas, but honestly, I didn't think it was terrible. There's some pretty good movies, but yeah, just a great year. Starting off with the honourable mentions first, we have Saltburn, Guardians of the Galaxy, Maestro, Dream Scenario, Extraction 2, Infinity Pool, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, and finally Five Nights at Freddy's, which I did enjoy, and I will, I'll say it, I did enjoy Five Nights at Freddy's, but maybe I'm one of the rare exceptions. At number 10 we have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which, it's a very long title, I'm not going to say that again. And, in terms of the Mission Impossible franchise, it is definitely a drop from Rogue Nation and Fallout and Ghost Protocol, but it is better than Mission Impossible 3 and Mission Impossible 2, because 2 is terrible. And I just think it should have had a tighter story, tighter runtime, tighter dialogue, better character development. And honestly, in terms of the Mission Impossible franchise, it would rank at number 5 out of the 7 movies that are in the franchise right now, which is not very high, but then again, the movie's not as good as the 4 previous movies, which is a shame because I think it is still a very good movie. At number 9 we have Asteroid City, and honestly it is probably the most whimsical and most bizarre Wes Anderson movie we have yet, which is a wild thing to say considering he is Wes Anderson, but honestly I did love it. It's heartwarming, it's weird, it's eccentric. Probably the best word for Wes Anderson is eccentric. And I can't wait to see the next one. Next Wes Anderson film we get, because this was just a really, really, really fun time to have experienced in the cinemas, and honestly, I really loved it. It is probably going to be in my top 5 of all Wes Anderson movies. At number 8 we have The Killer by David Fincher, which is honestly, I know it's not what people were expecting, but honestly, I wasn't really expecting a super action-packed assassin movie because I have watched David Fincher movies. And honestly, I loved it. It's nothing like I was expecting, but everything I was hoping for, if that even makes sense. But honestly, just a really, really fun time if you really learn to understand that this movie's not supposed to be a serious killer movie. It's very, very comedic, and most people need to recognize that. More people need to recognize that. You know what I mean. At number 7 we have The Holdovers, which I watched about 1 week ago, and honestly I loved it. I did not think it was going to be the modern Christmas classic it is, but honestly it is. It's such a heartwarming, the most raw and authentic movie of the year, I would say, which doesn't come lightly. But honestly it is, it really is, and we need more. We just need more of these kind of movies. So, if you want to watch an instant classic Christmas movie, this is the movie to watch, and the movie to start 2024 off with a bang, or just a heartwarming, nice, cozy time. At number 6 we have a surprise. We have Wonka, which I watched 2 days ago, which is why I had to change this list, because honestly, it is the biggest surprise of the year. I did not expect it to be this good, but it really is, and honestly, Timothée Chalamet is great, the songs are great, the set design's amazing, the directing's amazing, the movie's just, it's such a super fun time, and honestly I could not recommend it more if you enjoy musicals, because this will, like The Holdovers, now be on my list of instant holiday classics, because it's really, really, really fun and very heartfelt. At number 5 we have Barbie, and I don't need to say anything for this. We're all Kenergy. Do you feel the Kenergy? If you feel the Kenergy, then this movie is right, and that's all I need to say. At number 4 we have Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese at his absolute best as a filmmaker, technically. Maybe not writing wise, but definitely technically this is his most marvelous. And honestly, every frame of this movie was just breathtaking. The story, 3 hours and 26 minutes, and it did keep me engaged for almost the entire time. And the only reason this movie isn't higher, and I've only rated it 4.5 instead of a 5 stars on Letterboxd, is because the runtime, I didn't get bored, but it just a little too long. It could have trimmed some parts we didn't need. A little bit too long to really start. But overall, it's still Martin Scorsese at his absolute best and finest as a filmmaker, and we're living in a time where Martin Scorsese is still doing movies, which honestly, that's really what I can ask for. I can't really complain. At number 3 we have Across the Spider-Verse, to nobody's surprise, maybe a few people's surprises, but I mean, it is beautiful all around. Everything is beautiful. The cliffhanger's a little annoying, but it's still a masterpiece and just one of the best animated movies ever made. And I don't really need to say much. I'm very eagerly anticipating. This light is killing my eyes. Jesus Christ, I can't find good lighting in this room. And yeah, I'm eagerly anticipating the final movie in the trilogy, because we're never going to get anything as fine as these 3 movies. So yeah, here's to 2025, hopefully. At number 2, to a lot of people's surprise, John Wick 4. The movie I think is the best action movie of all time, which is I'm not saying that lightly, because, you know, I'm a huge fan of action movies. The Raid 2, you know, Terminator 2, they're hard to beat, but I think this movie really succeeds. It is beautiful all around, masterfully created. Everything, every single part of this is perfect. You can't beat it. Unless you're the number 1 spot for my movies, which would happen to be Oppenheimer, because you probably could have guessed that if it didn't show up on this list previously. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to say it now. You know, this will probably be the greatest movie of the decade. Like, I don't think anything's gonna compete unless Kraven the Hunter really comes in clutch, but it probably won't. So this will be the best and most important movie of this decade. I'm just gonna have to say that now. That's what I'm assuming. I mean, that's what I'm betting on. Next few videos are going to be focused on the Oscars, and also I'm going to have to make my favourite movie scenes of 2023, and then 2023 will officially come to an end. And it's been a pretty good year for movies, but honestly, it's not the best ever, but it's not the worst. It could have been better, but it couldn't. I can't complain. There's some very good movies here, and you know, I'm just grateful that we got them. And yeah, that's all I got.